All right, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, Day 53. Yoshikage, I saw your chat message, hello, and just before I went live, and I was like, wait a minute, did I accidentally click the button or something? I forgot that you can actually, you can sit there, or you can be waiting for the live stream to start. I don't think I went live early, did I? I responded to your hello before. I don't know if I assume you didn't see that because I don't think I was live. Anyway, oh, you know what? That's my intro from. I usually just copy and paste. Oh yeah. 6. That's my intro. I had updated it. Copied from the wrong month. Nope. Kept saying stream offline. Okay, that's good. I always gotta be conscious that I don't accidentally go live when I think I'm not. Okay. Every day I say today I'm gonna start earlier, and then I don't. Okay, today there's no new updates, no scheduled hearings or anything, so we'll continue on with work on the block mining simulation game. Orthoplex 64 sends a wave. Christopher says hello. How's it going? So yesterday, oh nice, the arrow. Previously, I'd used it like an arrow for the inventory item selection. It didn't render on this computer, but now you can actually, it's a fairly clear arrow symbol to select your inventory items. Okay, the thing I'm going to do today, so the general arc of what I want to do is I want to complete the next release of the block mining simulation game. There's one more feature that I want to add, and that is the ability to see the layer underneath, and I also want to dramatically simplify the some of the crazy map area interface code. So much of this stuff is this can be dramatically simplified. So I'm implementing a 3D circular buffer code. I began work on that last night. Did not get very far. This should run that unit test. Three circular buffer. Yeah, someone chatted last night. Circular sphere, or whatever. I don't know if there's a common name for it. I'm sure there must be in graphics programming. I would imagine that's a common thing to implement, is some kind of circular buffer, because you want to load regions of memory And then as you move around, you just kind of change a pointer. So like as you move through the landscape, but as you're like loading and unloading chunks, you don't want to like, if you move one block forward, you don't want to shift the entire world by one, which is actually how my code does it right now. Okay, the unit test runs. Circular buffer for 3D purposes. The buffer itself is 3D. It is a 3D buffer. It will be once it's implemented. If assuming I haven't made some like logical geometrical error, and I'm trying to do something that's impossible. Galactic Past says, "Hello, Robert. How's it going?" Yeah, so this is one of those things that I think I know how to do this, but so I guess first I'll write some test cases. Made Conway's Game of Life simulation. Excellent. What language is it implemented in? Use string buffers. Just print the entire frame at once. Now you have to implement it with super advanced hashing to get the frames up. What is this code's purpose? This code is going to be a three-dimensional circular buffer. So I need basically a 3D buffer that I can explicitly tell it what region of space I want to cover, and then as I move through a game world, it will update, and it will continually drop information from areas that it's moving out of, and then when I move into a new area, it can populate that with uninitialized spaces, and then anything in the middle is just remains in place, which is better than just shifting everything the entire array by one every time. It's pretty cool. Must take pretty long. I'm hoping it only takes a couple days. I started it last night. I was thinking about making it even more generic for like a generic number of dimensions, but that'll probably make it super slow. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to implement it to work with one dimension. So a one-dimensional circular buffer is like, a school assignment, and then I think to generalize a one-dimensional buffer to a two-dimensional circular buffer is not too complicated. It's just like copy and paste some stuff, and but I'll get the basic one working first. Oh, and an interesting data point to confirm my theory for the regular super chatters was I checked my analytics in the past couple of days, so I haven't got any super chats in the past couple of days, and ad revenue is way up. Like all my video views, my how to make CV video is getting way more views now. So that if that also continues tomorrow, that further increases my confidence that there's some kind of like smoothing effect where like if you did super chat, that'll just make my video views go down, because I think YouTube is just like making the ad revenue meet some moving average, and then it just finds a way to make I might never super chat again. I think it's probably like a moving average. So my guess is that what'll happen is if I don't get super chat revenue, like it probably still matters. So it will probably mean like if I just don't do anything that gets views, then what'll or like revenue or whatever, then it'll probably like it's probably doing some aggregate stuff. And then then the channel views and stuff will just kind of flatten down to nothing over time. But it would be an interesting question to know, like the other direction, like if you got like huge amounts of super chat revenue for a long time, maybe that would also boost your video views. My guess is it probably would. I think live stream viewers are more dedicated, I think. Like at least, if there's lots of people coming in all the time, but I think the people who have like high watch time are probably, like from YouTube's eyes, that's probably like an extremely high interest signal. So what it probably does in that case is it probably, if you watch a lot of the live streams, it'll probably recommend a lot of that person's videos to you. But that's a much smaller cohort of people. So you probably get like less views on the videos, but the views would be like way more impactful. Do you think there's some sort of strine attack we could mount? Like everyone's super chatting, but only once every week? Yeah, there might even be some, like if you figured out the windowing algorithm or something, there's probably maybe an optimal super time to chat or something, an optimal time to super chat or something. It might not matter though, it might just be like a moving average. But I mean, it would be an interesting thing to investigate. But then again, like, I also wonder too now, but like everything's so advanced that like YouTube could probably, like, if you took this transcript and put this transcript into ChatGPT and said like, what are these people talking about? Is this bad for YouTube? At ChatGPT would be like, oh yeah, this is probably like these two people are discussing possible exploitation of the YouTube monetization system. This could violate the terms of service. The algorithm is getting smarter. It's getting harder to outsmart the algorithm. It's all hypothetical. That's what we'll tell the algorithm. Reject modernity, embrace terminal. Yeah, it's a much better interface, in my opinion. Tostino, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing well as well. Embrace terminal velocity. I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, it's an unfortunate double meaning. I don't remember how to do this. I can't just do T. I am. Thank you. Excellent. Phonetic language is a cacophony of exegetic foibles. Oh, wow, the stream streak is still going. Yeah, I started, but so I can't stop now. What did you add? What new did you add? Is there a sword? Spits out wood? Not yet. I guess I can. Let's see. Can I run it with? I guess it depends on when the last time you checked in was. So throughout the past 53 days, I've massively refactored the user interface. So I can open new frames. So I can open the help menu. Every time the help menu looks the same, but everything is completely refactored. So it's when I press down on the help menu, it doesn't like flash the entire screen every time, which it used to do because the screen drawing was really bad. Right now, it's like it's writing to a local buffer in each frame, and then that frame sends the data off to another thread. So all console writing is handled by one thread, and each individual frame, so every red thing when I tab select, is an independent thread. And so all of this operates well, so I can go to any arbitrary resolution. There's no crashes, and the text in the help menu justifies and works. So that was and when it's just sitting there, it doesn't look very impressive, but overall, was quite a bit of work to implement. There's a bit of a bug there because there's one remaining bug with the map area I got to work on. And in the inventory, so this is a new gameplay feature, you can select items in the inventory. So I can select my iron oxide. And then if I go back to map, then I can, when I press the P key, I can place iron oxide. And that did not exist before. Is there a sword that spits out wood when you add Industrial Revolution or support modding? So the game is the source code is available. So technically, you could just like do git clone and like add anything you want. I think I'd probably try to approach it to make it more like mod or improvement friendly. Yeah, Industrial Revolution. Yeah, I think eventually can support that once I get enough time and funding. But other than that, my goal is to I have some remaining refactors with the map area I want to do, and then once I have that, I'm hoping like in the next week or so do a new release with these latest changes, because the UI, the user interface is quite a bit better than it was before. And the fact that you can actually select things in the inventory, that was, I think, a substantial thing that was missing. And also, like before, so you can press the C key to craft things, but before, it would always use up your mining picks. If it would just kind of use them without you being selected. So now you actually have to select if you you can explicitly choose which mining pick you use. So that way you can save your better mining picks instead of just automatically consuming them when you don't want to. Slap the like button, chatters. We already got 8 likes. Excellent. Yeah, so that's where the game is now. And now I'm working on improvements, and I can't figure out how do I cast this object to a type T. Does that work? That's not what I want. I wonder if you could make the player feel miserable for just throwing stuff around without any care of their world. I don't know. It depends what you mean by that. You mean like to make them environmentally responsible or something? Is that real code? I've not seen that before. Plus. No littering. Make difficulties. Yeah, I'm not sure. A flashing blue and red block comes and hits you. You lose XP. That's one. Yeah, that's a good option. Yes, this is exactly my problem. That might work. You could make it like Grand Theft Auto, but in the terminal. You'd have your, what is it? That like the wanted level. Java's so hard. It's the generics. I still haven't wrapped my mind around the generics well enough. Sometimes I can use T, and sometimes you have to use a question mark. All right, I think that's progress. Why did he print the important part of the error in dark red? I remember using Vim for PHP and the comments were dark blue and black. I think part of it is I have custom colors for my terminal. So I think these are I think this thing is explicitly set to red. But the black is custom by me. And the green foreground is mine. C++ templates are even more nonsense. Yeah, actually, I think, is it, I think, was it C++ templates that were, I think, Turing complete, or, well, you could implement a lot of nonsense in them. C++ templates reliably win competitions of generating the longest error with least code. You need a handful of characters to do a recursive one. Creates a 10,000 line error. Nice. That's amazing. I didn't even know it was that bad. So for the 2D and 3D extensions, I guess the buffer member will still be on the array, and you'll do the index math yourself. I guess intuitively, I just know that it should be possible. I can kind of visualize it. What I'm going to do is, I think I have it written out. So I have it written out. So basically, it works and it makes sense for the X dimension. What I think it's going to just be, I have seen kind of like this. I've never seen this in any other kind of graphics programming or anything. It's just a concept I made up called a cuboid, which is like a generalization of. So in a 2D plane, if you want to describe regions of the simplest way to describe regions of space in a 2D plane is squares, and then in a 3D space it's cubes, and this cuboid address. I just made that as like a generalization, where if you want to describe 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D regions in space, you can generalize it by describing it as the two corners, the two outermost corners of the hypercube. So for 2D or 3D or 4D, and the property that those two points have is that they're the vertices that have the highest value for all of them, for the coordinate of anything. For all the coordinates in the entire hypercube, you just take the highest and lowest of each, like X, Y, Z, W, whatever. So for the square, it's just this would be like the on the XY plane, this canonical upper would be the top right hand corner, and the lower would be the bottom lower hand corner for the 2D case. But it just easily generalizes from that. So in the 3D case, this one here is going to give me the point, the corner of the cube that's furthest from the origin, and that one's going to give me the one that's closest to the origin. So right now I'm just doing it so you can just pass in any cuboid address, and I'm grabbing the start and end, so I'm just going to implement the 1D circular buffer here, which is pretty easy. So depending on if you shift right or shift left, because it's a circular buffer, you just leave the items where they are, and then as the circular buffer shifts, the sum of the elements, you're going to have to initialize them to like uninitialized, and so that's the only change you have to make. And then I think to generalize this, I just need to like copy and paste. So like all those, so I basically just like copy and paste that, I think, with Y instead of X. So that'd be step 1. And then within these, for int I think I basically, this is my intuition, I think it's just going to be like that. And then I'm going to have to do like that, and do for int J. And then there's going to be another one of those down here. And then so that'll cover Y. So that'll generalize it to 2D, I think. And then to generalize to 3D, I'll basically do the same thing again at the other level. And then once I can see the pattern, I'll probably try to generalize it even more. Maybe just instead of writing out X and Y, I'll just maybe make a vector. Yeah, because I have a vector class, I'll just have a 3D vector of like old starts, old ends, or something. That's what's in my mind. First I'm going to make it work for the one-dimensional case, and then build some test cases. And then that'll make it much easier to generalize. And then I think I'm actually missing some initialization down here, but yeah, actually I need another check if the new buffer is a lower value, because I may not actually copy up to old size. It'll be like math.min. Okay, so I can have a check in here, but okay. All right, it is null. All right, that should be updated. At 103. Would you ever do a day in the life video? I could. There's so many video ideas I have, but he has to keep up. Keep it a secret. It's calzones. Calzones around the clock. Yeah, it's I don't know. I always feel like I'm running in molasses. There's just so many things I end up getting distracted by. I'm maybe like a week from finishing the next release on this, and then once I can stop thinking about this, well, I guess then I can think about accounting more. Work I have to modify someone's CPP code. Issues, and he really likes macros and go-tos. Nice. Macros that could have been a function, or macros. Yeah, there's a lot of like old school C code. Like a lot of the GNU tools and stuff are all like macros, and I guess macros. The reason for them existing is really they're like they make sense if you need the code to build. If you basically need to like you're basically like stitching together code at runtime, because like certain code just doesn't compile at all on certain platforms. It's basically like the almost like the equivalent of like reflection or something, but it's makes for very ugly code. Fortunately, things are a bit more standardized now on different architectures, so I think it's a lot of that older code can be rewritten. Never had that before? Like basically folded pizzas? I never had one before either, but apparently everybody wants me to have a calzone. Ever watched a George stream? I've seen like some like the VODs from them. I never watch live streams live. I watch some things on 2x speed after they're done, just to like I don't really like sit there for an hour and watch it, but I'll like skip around and see what happened. That's why we have Python now, and all the libraries are C++. Metaprogramming. Yeah, that's basically what I understand the use case behind the C preprocessor. From what I understand, the C preprocessor was written to basically be like its own language, so you can like use the C preprocessor outside of it in any other context. But it's the C preprocessor is like it's totally completely insane. Like some of the rules and when it comes to like recursive functions and like macro activation and inactivation and stuff. If you Google for it, I have a blog post called seven scandalous weird old things about the C preprocessor. This was back when I was trying like some over the top clickbait content for Hacker News. But if you read that, I went through a bunch of I went through the process of trying to actually write a C preprocessor myself. Python cannot completely replace C++. If we say calzone enough, YouTube will start associating Robert with calzone. And all the viewers get calzone ads. Well, that's okay if they pay a lot. You still have the GNU Linux explanation meme memorized? I just like to interject for one. What you're referring to is Linux is actually GNU/Linux, or as I recently taken to calling it GNU plus Linux. Linux is not an operating system unto itself, but rather another free component of, I forget. Total world domination. Yep, that's what we're here for. Calzone, calzone, calzone. All right. Index out of bounds for length 0. Calzones feel very proletariat to me. Proletariat, I forget, is that the elite class? Or is that the commoners? Maybe Fast API and Unicorn can take advantage of this. They're just boutique. Bougie Hot Pockets. Should an index out of bounds be an error instead of an exception? I'm not sure. I know errors are not catchable, but I wasn't paying too much attention. Isn't Fast API thing where the guy couldn't get a job because he didn't have enough experience in the library? Proletariat are the commoners who should own the means of production. Yeah, I guess it's like a high calorie food, so the proletariat needs calories for all the hard work that they do. What government is programming ICBMs in JavaScript? I'm sure there's some of them out there. Just saw the tweet. Oh, did you see it on Twitter or is it my community post on YouTube? I'm curious where people see things. I don't get any interaction on Twitter at all. I kind of consider Twitter dead to me, but Twitter? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's interesting how social media works. It's so easy to consume, but so difficult to, so much work to interact and respond. Fast API author wasn't experienced enough to get the Fast API job. I saw the YouTube post. Don't use Twitter at all. Well, at least my I was trying to do one community post every week, but I don't know. I need to get better at time management. It's been 2 weeks since I did one of those. Chinese running trains on open versions of Flash. So trains were running on Flash. Yeah, I think I remember seeing something about they had they had some of the train schedule or something like that got hacked, or it was displaying something weird, some weird Flash errors in the station. You are invisible if you don't have the blue tick on X. I pay for Twitter, so actually I kind of think I'm a shadow banned from like years ago, before Elon acquired it. Four years of Fast API experience, but Fast API only existed 1.5 years. Yeah, we had the same thing when I was at Amazon. We had I worked on the Amazon Redshift team right when we released Redshift, and within like a few months there were people posting job postings saying like you need to have at least like 5 years experience with Amazon Redshift, and and there were a couple of people there who worked at Amazon internally who probably could have claimed that they had like that much, like when they worked on it, before it got acquired, because it started off as like an independent company and then they acquired it and pulled it into Microsoft services or Amazon services. ChinaTube isn't allowing my negative comment with Chinese tech to go through. Nice. Yeah, it's a mystery how the chat filtering works on here. I decided to keep it on the top chat just because like it also allows me to be lazy with moderation, but I think it's good for people to know when they're getting censored. chat, more like bottom chat. Sometimes it doesn't send stuff after I reload my page. Even if I don't say anything explicit. Yeah, people get filtered, like even some of the paid channel members who are like always chatting here, so they'll send stuff that just doesn't go through sometimes. Like I think one of you was saying one time you tried, if you said Python -m, the -m was getting flagged. Be careful, you will get negative social credit. That's what it feels like. I'm pretty sure my experience of online censorship is I find YouTube, like online censorship, and actually YouTube censorship is the least, but every other platform I find is very heavily like, shadow bans, and it's the like shadow banning and downranking and stuff that's the really problematic in my opinion. And it gets the most concerning thing is almost that it's just so random. Like the stuff that seems to trigger the bans doesn't make any sense, and it's inconsistent. Rayan Hussein. Well, I don't know. I guess you're trying to make a point about censorship. Yeah, I think he said bye. So if he leaves, if he comes back and starts doing that stuff, I'll ban him. But I mean, it's an interesting. That's an interesting example there where stuff like that doesn't get flagged, but yet like innocuous stuff like the Python -m or something, how that doesn't get how that does get flagged. And I remember on Facebook, I tried to. They had this feature where you can create a store. So I created a store to like sell my regular expression fridge magnets. And then as soon as I posted the thing, it's like this product is not right for Facebook. And then they banned my Facebook store and made me like do all this appeal process and stuff. And I had that a lot with Facebook, getting banned for all kinds of stuff, just stupid reasons for their ad platform. One time I tried to create an ad, and I think there was a bug in their ad platform. So when I clicked like create, it sent like 10,000 AJAX requests and like would lag the browser. And I think that like triggered probably their anti-bot whatever code, which put me in a shadow ban. So they disabled my ad account. I'm like, you can't run Facebook ads. This is final. And then I appealed it, and there's like, they're like, congratulations, you're not banned anymore. And they wouldn't tell me why. My comment about Python is evil. Came here to troll. You think Google would have the best AI LLM filtering, but no. AI filtering sucks. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how it applies. Like, I would imagine that any large language model, like if you take any of those comments and just take that comment and put it into an LLM, like if you just copy and paste it right now into ChatGPT and say, is this inappropriate? Should this be like filtered from a live stream chat? And then just paste it. Like it would give you, you could even just say like on a scale of 1 to 10, it would probably do that. So it begs the question of what's going on. Why is it so inconsistent? It always makes stupid mistakes in large scale users. KJ, I was trolling. It will be cut on CNN. Yeah, that's maybe a bit over the top, but no trolling like that. Otherwise, I'll have to ban. Make stuff up still. Takes things out of context. I don't think that qualifies as trolling. It's hate speech. We don't have hate speech here, but we're at Mr. Elder's discretion. Yeah, I think. I want to try and err on the side of not like policing not policing people too much, but I think my to try to make the most general rule, like people things that interfere with people's ability to benefit from the chat. That's, I think, probably the best like simple description. So like excessive stuff like that, or I guess there's I don't know, I'm not going to split hairs, but it's barely better than throwing a dice and removing comments if you get a certain number. It does seem like that sometimes. LLM for YouTube comment filter. Good use of energy. Well, presumably it shouldn't use that much energy. Yeah, I thought Raspberry Pi was an evil thing. I think it was probably it was about like the YouTube competition. It was probably that was the issue with that. AI in large scale does really dumb things, as we've seen on apps like Roblox. It's comedy gold. Which requires support takes like a week to get a real person. ChatGPT query is estimated to use 0.00289 kilowatt hours per query. On the Google search query uses approximately hundreds of millions of comments per day. Honestly, it's kind of incredible how much energy these things take. Okay, what happened to programs and people moderating? It's expensive and time consuming. Bye, I'll see you in another 5 years. Lying. I'm Riemann KHN idiot. To me, that just looks like nonsense. Someone's giving me 100% and some emojis right now. Nice. All right, that was supposed to crash, but it did not. Thousand kilowatt hours per day for YouTube comment filtering. That's a lot. 30,000 kilowatt hours. How many homes does that power? Yeah, that may be the thing that ultimately like prevents the AI takeaway. Because I think a lot of the actual runaway, like general AI things are going to mean like the AI ends up doing like 10 billion subqueries. Or like it generates like 5 billion images and then it like filters them and A/B tests them and stuff like that. But then doing that itself could take like all of the energy available. And if it gets to that point, like it'll be easy to pull the plug. If suddenly you see that, like in the data center, if the computer just goes unresponsive and the current draw spikes to like 100%, then you know it's going rogue, and you can just like you can physically pull the plug. Typical home use. Home comes in 60 kilowatt hours per day. Wow, so that's what is that? 5,000 homes. Estimated on 100 million comments per day. My dehumidifier uses 12. Yeah, dehumidifiers are require a lot of power. I'm new to the stream. What's going on? I'll give a better answer to that question first. So I am currently working on a terminal-based video game where you simulate the process of mining blocks. So I'll compile it and show you. The key is optimizing the loading and management of the space that holds the world data. Yes, actually, I kind of have. I mean, it's almost a bit of overkill. I have two different models for. I have like one an in-memory chunks module that loads chunks, and then that's more of like a. It's more for like handling the chunk loading and unloading with respect to the server, and then this other thing is it's basically just like it's going to be like the literal array that holds what's on the screen. Don't really get it, but fun to watch. Yeah, I haven't really explained it super well. Do you recommend building a career where you're smarter than needed and the people around you, or a career where you're stretched to the limits of your intelligence and surrounded by smarter people? A career where you're smarter than needed, the people around, or a career where you're stretched to the limits. I think it's if you're like if you're interested, if you're like an intellectual, it's always satisfying to be around people who challenge you and are smarter and are like interested in, always interested in pushing yourself to that next level. Then when it comes to there's maybe like two different questions there. One is like if you're just interested in knowledge and algorithms and programming, and you're idealistic, and you look back at the famous scientists like Isaac Newton and stuff, and you're like, man, I could be like one of those people. I think that's a very different objective from the world we live in today. And when you talk about optimizing your career, I don't know. I think there are less and less places for someone who is like an idealist who is kind of true to their roots of like wanting to learn and surround yourself with smart, motivated people. Like so much of academia is full of like the publish or perish mentality, and there's tons of YouTube videos. If you just go to YouTube and type in why I quit my PhD, why I don't recommend doing a PhD, and just like listen to some of those videos, I think we might be on the cusp of like so many of our systems, the corporate world, the academia is getting so bad that we might like reinvent something new that's better. I don't think we're quite there yet, but I would say in terms of like stretching yourself to your intellectual limit and challenging yourself and learning, that's maybe a bit of a different objective than like having a satisfying career and making a lot of money. I think a lot of career success is actually going to be just building a large network. So if you just know many people, if you can, assuming you're a student, if you can do like a cohort system where you meet other people, or if you like form study groups and stuff like that, and just like have shared experiences over time with a bunch of people, and invite them on LinkedIn, and then over the years, that'll give you some intros to get jobs, and I think that's going to become more true in the future. Like it's always been true, but especially now with AI, like we just have like AI applying for submitting like fake job applications, and then we have AI denying fake job applications to AIs, and it's just everything is just AIs talking to each other. And I mean, even before that, hiring was really awful. That was kind of a long-winded rant, but hopefully there's some nuggets of wisdom in there. Now my check's not working. Dead internet theory. Yeah, it is becoming more and more of a thing. I mean, we might have to extend that to like dead society theory. Like, so much stuff in society seems to be non-productive. Like, I mean, if you look at the growth rate in the number of government jobs, like at least here in Canada, maybe the trend's reversing in the US, but the growth rate in the number of government jobs exceeds the growth rate in the number of private sector jobs. And if that trend continues, then eventually literally everyone will work for the government. And of course, the government's not particularly, careful with their resources. Career smarter than needed. Welcome to all careers. Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the consulting work I did, I mean that's different than going into the job market. I like the expertise. Like, a lot of people said, like, "Oh, you're an idiot for doing the things the way you did. You should have gotten more experience and learned some skills and stuff like that." But in reality, the reality was the opposite. The skills I had, the existing skills I had, were way far exceeded anything that people wanted. And when I was going around like scoping, like, there was never a case where someone's like, "Oh, I need someone to program this algorithm," and I was like, "Oh man, this is way too hard for me." Like, my actual experience was way far exceeded what was needed. Making eye contact, connect with somebody in real life has opened more doors than indeed for me. Yeah, I think like that's kind of it's always been true, but it's going to become more true because people will prefer a known evil over an unknown evil. So I think some people think a lot of it, like getting connections for jobs, is like it's all corruption or something, and that can be it. But a big part of it is just like if you've worked with someone, like there's people I've worked with. I wasn't even friends with them. I just worked with them on school projects, and like thinking back, like I every once in a while I think back to them. I'm like, you know what, I would, if I could have that person as an employee, I would 100% employ that person. And then there's a few other people that I can think of who are like, and some of them even got good marks, but the way they solve problems is just like, they can get them assignments done, but they introduce bugs and stuff all the time, and it's hard to work with them on things. Radios, batteries, generators, flashlights, water purification. Everyone should be ready. They won't be. Don't advertise if you are. Are you preparing for the apocalypse? That might be a good idea with all the escalations we've seen recently. I'm in live chat and you can't see Christopher's comments? Oh, okay. Is he getting censored for something? That's funny. I'm not prepared at all. Why do you ask? I'm curious if Christopher's comments something that should get censored, or is it another case of overzealous censorship? He just mentioned collapse, which may be a censored topic. That's funny. Honestly, that is very amusing that topic is something that gets censored. Just found out this week that I hate my job. Well, better late than never. He said to be ready to fix things others can't fix. Yeah, it's going to be even more necessary when you try to look up how to repair something. When you go to Google and you type in like how to repair a refrigerator after society collapses, and then Google's like, nope, collapse is a censored word. That should be throwing an exception. Oh, there we go. There is no collapse in Ba Sing Si. Not sure if I pronounced that right. That's a reference to is it 1984 or something? Is that Portugal? It might be soon. Game Dev Chad says, stocks going up. Did your stocks go up? I hope they did, so you can become a millionaire. My second comment was also hidden. They really don't want us talking about any of this. Yeah, that really makes me wonder, like how intentional, how much intention is there to hiding those comments? Like, there's nothing there's nothing bad about that. Like, for the other stuff that was passed through, to censor the word collapse from like paying channel members. It's a reference to Avatar, The Last Airbender. Isn't? I thought it was that was a reference to like some novel or story about censorship. That might be a blood pressure graph or tax graph. Oil prices going up. Wait until Iran shuts the Strait of Hormuz. Oh yeah, I heard that might happen. That's going to be yeah. That whole situation is kind of crazy. We can't know why the vectors are in spaces, mainly dimensions. never know. I had to go back and listen to your reply to my original comment again. That was very good perspective. Made me realize I'm looking at in a big fish, a small pond mentality. Yeah, it's there's lots of dimensions to optimize your life. If when you're in your like young phase and you want to improve, it does make sense to surround yourself by motivated people who are smarter than you. So it can always be like kind of trying to catch up, like pair programming with someone who's much better than you. But I guess existing in that system is, like you said, it's kind of like big fish in small pond mentality. But I guess that's maybe not the right metaphor. There's just there's other things that there exists higher order ways to optimize your life. So if you want to get like the best outcome, like you could be like there are lots of people. Well, for example, there are lots of people who are totally incompetent morons who make a lot more money and are a lot more successful because they're able to play like certain social games better. Or bad, okay. Wait until $300 oil barrel, then you will pay 10x a quart. The pump. Same for energy prices. Banks collapse, people panic, inflation goes rampant. I gotta leave a censored chat. Yeah, that's Iran, something people I think forget is Iran is a huge country. Iran has 90 million people in it. So whatever's going to happen there is a big deal. Okay. So that was supposed to throw an exception, and it did not. Why did it not throw an exception? Trade surplus doesn't mean you're covering your supply chain. Siloed vertical integration. Yeah, the whole supply chain is complicated. You can have like, there's like a production and storage, and also like oil refineries are also pretty they're built specifically to process like a specific type and concentration and chemical composition of oil. So if you have like high sulfur oil, you have to send it to a specific refinery. Alternatively, you could look at trying to do the most good for the most people. Yeah, my dad messed me up. It was very late. This very late to discover this. Yeah, I think that's a decent approach. I mean, there's many goalposts you can use to optimize your life. Most good for the most people is one of them. But it's also, I mean, it's hard. You can drive yourself almost insane trying to figure out like what's the way to maximize your life. Norway's oil, and they have some of the highest gas prices in the world. Yeah, we have a ton of oil. We don't really refine any though. $200 you could refine gym socks into fuel. Not if the currency collapses. I know this is deep, but you speak as if you're aware of being metaphysically in control of the perspective of your life. And was this something you worked towards, or just come naturally? Being metaphysically in control of the perspective of your life. From my perspective, metaphysics. When I Google that, I think it's like something that exists outside of science. So I don't really have any opinions on things that are metaphysical, because they're like outside of science, if I remember the definition of that word correctly. I guess a lot of it is if people ask me for advice, I try to be thoughtful, because there's a ton of people out there who are just like, oh, you know what you need to do? You need to just find this specific type of company and work for them for 4 years and do anything you can to work for them, and even volunteer. And like I can basically tell you, like, go waste 4 years of your life. But I have no stake in that. And if there's a ton of people giving, like, this almost seems like a way to like DDoS society. There's tons of bad advice out there disguised as good advice, and like some of it is just I think it's just kids giving other kids advice when they have no experience. But so I'm just trying to be like thoughtful, give you a few different perspectives so you can you can take something from it. No tests executed. Oh yeah. That's because of this. Created my video on how to Dexter burglars with a smart home today. I don't know what you mean by that. All right, that compiles and runs. So I want to put a breakpoint to figure out why that doesn't throw the exception. Testing from Smarter Every Day made a video about manufacturing in the US. A bolt costs like 20 times more than an imported bolt. The old guy teaching him how to do the tooling died during the video production. Wow. Yeah, a lot of it is we've never really invested in like any kind of automation. Like, I think there's actually a ton of low-hanging fruit in like automating manufacturing. Why is the indentation weird? That is strange. Test run 1. How come I can't debug? Keep getting censored. I came earlier could leave some messed up comments, but if I mentioned geopolitics, instantly hidden. Yeah, that's what I mean about like the censorship we have now. Like it's almost worse. Like if I say a bad word and I get censored, it's like, okay, I understand why. But if I try to talk about like some specific thing, because like in the chat, it's discreet. You can see when you're getting censored. But like maybe my whole channel is getting shadow banned because I mentioned like some specific thing. Like maybe calzones are a trigger word. There's like some I don't know, some glitch in the algorithm, or like some machine learning model ingested some data with bad Unicode characters related to a calzone. That every time you mention calzone, it triggers some like an exception in the large language model code. If I want to see if someone's home, I'll do one tomorrow using cameras and motion sensors. You have the wrong politics then. Yeah, the censorship is educating you about the right way to think. Clearly touching nerves with my comments here today. Yeah, but again, that's also the like for people like us, I think we can kind of understand and process that kind of censorship. But I would imagine like, just imagine how many like teenagers there are who try to post something, like they try to, you know, post a picture of themselves or something, and then it gets taken down for like, you know, gets flagged for like, you know, obscene content or something. And then the teenager thinks they're ugly because like Facebook is banning their photo or something, and then it like, you know, psychologically traumatizes them, and they never post that thing again. Or people who try to post like, you know, they try to like post personal stories or something about them. They open up about something, and then the algorithm's like, nope, you said a bad word, you talked about mental health issues, banned. And I think it's I think it's going to get worse, and it's going to get any more insane because what can happen and is happening is you've noticed like a lot of people now, people are inventing code words for stuff. So like you've probably all heard like people say the word unalive, or pew pews, or like people just invent these. They, instead of saying the actual thing, they invent some other thing. And the cycle of this. But the thing is, if we use that word enough, if you say unalived enough, like I'm pretty sure if you ask ChatGPT what does unalive mean, why do people say this, ChatGPT probably knows. It's probably watched a video about that, so it can probably explain this to you. So like the AI is going to become aware of our code language. So then we have to invent new code language that's like more cryptic, but then eventually it becomes hard to even understand each other. So eventually, like the smarter the AI gets, the smarter we have to become in talking to each other to avoid this stuff. Wall Street Bets uses Mango. What if they mean the U.S. president? Yeah, like that's a perfect example. Like I've never heard anyone use that word in that way. So like if I read that, I would not understand what anyone's talking about. And so I think we're gonna end up in this feedback loop of like we invent like new terms to describe stuff, and then we have to constantly keep censoring each other. Or we keep getting censored by the AI, and then we invent more cryptic language, and then nobody can understand each other. NSN NES Bank. Normally I maybe we'll let one of those slide. I think I'll give a ban for that for promoting cryptocurrency. I've never tried the timeout feature before. I'm sure that person will probably never be back. That's what happens in China every day. Yeah, it's going to get more and more. It's going to get more and more crazy and hard to understand anything. Mouse clicks are deafening. Fluoride stare. Even I didn't cross that line. You come close to it. Now, if I can figure out why this thing is not running, the debugging is not working. That's pretty annoying. Now I can't debug. My man. AS is living on the edge. Oh, yeah. Are you Aryan? I don't know what that is. Luigi says hi. I'm an internet tightrope walker. Does YouTube chat have basic regex feature? I would assume the UI probably doesn't. Maybe the API you can access something like that. Luigi, remember me? What you do for fun? I think I've seen your name a few times. What do you do for fun? I do this for fun. This is pretty fun. Video games? I'm working on making a video game. Right now I'm trying to figure out how to debug. So you use YouTube a lot. I use YouTube a lot too. How did the companies you work for do documentation for their software? Depends which company. Some had like internal wikis, and most of them had internal wikis, and one of them was Amazon, which had like the external documentation. That was actually a lot of what I worked on. Was we had to. Well, we actually had a guy who handled the documentation, so I came onto it halfway through and had to modify some existing documentation and gave it to this other guy who incorporated it. And you got a BIH GF? Nope. It's disappointing. Regex can filter some very obvious bad words. Yeah, I'm not sure. Actually, there might be somewhere in there where you can block. I know you can block certain words from comments. I'm not sure if it also applies to live chat. It probably does. How often do you play with yourself? I play this game with myself pretty much every day, and I have for the last 53 days. So Robert the Beloved, someday I hope to get as much programming time as you. Well, eventually you can have that. You just have to spend thousands of hours on it. What's your favorite movie? I don't watch movies. Haven't watched any movies in years. Need more admonish? I forgot. I need to look up that word. I can't remember it means not punish or something. You got a bunch of new subs. Subs the host a few months. Yes, indeed. I always get subs. Do you feel alone often? I would say no. This feels like an interrogation. Movies suck now? Yeah, that's the impression I've gotten. I remember when it was years ago, probably about when I was back in school, I would see random advertisements for movies and think like, when I have lots of time, I'll watch this movie. It looks interesting, and I have not seen a movie that actually looked interesting in a long time now. Admonish is like scold. Yeah, I guess that makes sense given the context. Yes, this chat went from 100 to WTF. Yeah, I agree. There are several different conversations going on here. So I am kind of baffled as to why this thing doesn't seem to hit my breakpoint. It's all green screen and VFX. Remember when movies told a story of actors? Man, pretty soon it's going to be all AI slop. Won't that be amazing? AI slop Hollywood movies that are like total garbage quality with like the, exaggerated expressions and like weird morphing objects in the background. God bless you. Thank you for the kind words. I wanted to visit Canada before I discovered your videos and streams. It's probably not bad to visit. Depends where you go and like why you're coming here. Canada is physically massive. It's the second largest country in the world. So we have like basically every, well, not every kind of landscape, but we have like, mountains and stuff. And then Ontario down here is just like flat, extremely boring. The summers are, winters are pretty cold. Summers are uncomfortably hot and humid. But if you go to like Newfoundland or something, like the terrain and geography is completely, totally different and incomparable, depending on where you go. So it's good for tourism. I don't think I would advise people to move here. Even I even seen like videos get recommended to me from like immigrants, from people coming from India, saying like don't move here from India. I'm promoting myself to mod. I would mod this chat for free. I can't take it anymore. It's not too bad. It's manageable. Movies are already all-time low. I think cinemas will go to business completely. Yeah. Well, it is currently 12:34. I made a little bit of progress tonight, although I have a check here. This if condition is supposed to fail when I call it with this. And I can't figure out why, because the debugger doesn't start when I debug. It just executes. Have you been to Japan? Will you go there soon? Probably not. The anti-immigration sentiment is growing as well. It's not very welcoming environment to immigrate to. Yeah, I don't understand what the government is doing. Like, we've had immigration for years, and it was all like, top elite people, but in the last couple of years, they've just gone insane. And we're like record high levels of like record low skill qualifications. Like many of the people around here that I talk to who just came here, like I try to talk to them about like current events, or I just try to like start a conversation with them, and I can't do it because like they don't like we had fires here and there was some smoke, and I mentioned something about like, oh, it's that smoky out today, and he like didn't really seem to understand, and I said like there's fires in Manitoba, and I don't think he even knew where Manitoba was. According to my sources, Sneakers is in the top 10 movies of all time. Yeah, that was that classic hacking movie with Angelina Jolie, if I remember correctly. Just tuned in. Were there any calzones? There were some mentions of calzone, but is the worsening quality of life in Canada a class problem? I think statements like that are kind of overly reductive. There's, I think there's a lot of the problems we have in society. There's like multiple independent actors that are like there's so many things going on at once. It's I think difficult to just divide it up into one or two groups. We have like the Canada's changed so much in the last 10 years that I think there's also like there's interest groups from outside the country that are competing with other interest groups in the country, and I mean it would take a long time to describe everything that's going on. See you. Good night. Have a good night. Can we get an authentic Irish goodbye tonight? Sure.